Today we're going to be talking about Kyrie Irving. He needs to be traded, and it's not for all the reasons that you're actually thinking. Today we're going to talk about obviously the issues that he's had that are created for the team. What the Brooklyn Nets have looked like at least in their first game, a potential trade package for this team, and then also the number one reason that Kyrie needs to be traded, and it's not for a reason that you think it is. So, Kyrie Irving has obviously caused a lot of drama for this team. Right? There's some other stuff going on in the beginning of the season, burning sage, walking around the stadium or whatever. But then, he's been missing, sitting out of games because he doesn't feel like playing. His relationship with Kevin Durant is kind of crumbling, and apparently he wanted more communication from the front office when they signed Steve Nash. Apparently, he didn't really sign off on that trade or something along those lines, which I think is personally kind of ridiculous. You're getting one of the better point guards of all time as your head coach. I feel like Kyrie Irving would respect him, but apparently that's an issue. I don't really know. But those are just some of the things that obviously Kyrie Irving has caused drama for. And now the Brooklyn Nets have made a massive trade, giving up a lot in order to bring James Harden in here, right? To bring James Harden to Brooklyn. And in my opinion, or well, not in my opinion, but now apparently Kyrie Irving's like perfectly fine with that, right? Like now James Harden's here, and supposedly he's willing to not sit out the entire season like he originally suggested he would do. He may be coming back and playing. But if I was a GM of the Brooklyn Nets, I would look to trade him because I'm kind of sick of dealing with everything that's going on right now, right? It's just too much. But also at the same time, the Brooklyn Nets in their first game looked pretty good with James Harden, really good with James Harden. In fact, he was the main number one option, like running the offense. He was the main ball handler because obviously Kevin Durant works much better off ball than James Harden does, and that still was something that we saw. In their first game, James Harden couldn't really work off ball, but he did create a lot for his teammates. He actually played defense, which I don't expect to continue to happen throughout the season, but it was nice to see he did try on defense. And he looked good. Had a 30-point triple double, and Kevin Durant, I believe, dropped like 40 points as well. They look like a really good duo. One of my biggest issues for Harden was his attitude or his ego. Would he be willing to take a back seat in Brooklyn? What would he look like? Right? What would his attitude or ego be like? And I think he kind of understands that this really is more Kevin Durant's team than it is his. And both him and Kevin Durant, they were like hyping each other up. Great leadership, great communication, much better than I was really expecting, although it has been only one game. But from what we saw in this first game, it was really nice to see that they were working well together, and I hope that can continue throughout the rest of the season, because if it does, then this team is really, really good. There are issues with this team, however, right? They traded Jarrett Allen, which really weakens their depth at the center position, right? Their defense and their rebounding is going to be much worse without him. Overall, like I said, their defense, though, overall, not just at the 5 spot, is going to be weak, right? James Harden is not going to continue to play at this level as far as defense was. I believe he had like 4 or 5 steals last game. Kevin Durant can be an elite defender at times, but you can't rely on him to be that guy every single game, get day in and day out. That's just not who he is. Bruce Brown is a nice defensive point guard, but I feel like there's better options out there. However, he does bring some nice defense. Joe Harris is a solid defender, right? They're just not exceptional on that side of the ball, which is another big issue for me. Other than that, they actually look really good um for their first game. Right. So I do think that they need to be trading Kyrie Irving for like some defense, some depth, but most importantly, another center. While they do have Nick Claxton, who's a nice young center that is injured and is going to potentially, of course, obviously be coming back sometime soon. He's very young. Last year, I believe, was his rookie year, although I don't know how much he played, right? So I would want, especially for this team right now, because they are a win-now team, they are not looking to develop any players. I would be looking to trade for an impactful center right away. And there's only one trade package that involves Kyrie Irving that I think is possible, right? And I don't even know if both sides would agree to a deal. So here's what I'm suggesting. The Brooklyn Nets trade Kyrie Irving plus Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. I believe that's how you say his name. It's very complicated. And a second round pick for Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb. And as a Pacers fan, I probably would say no to this. However, there's a reason why I would. Right, Karis LeVert, obviously, prayers up for that guy. First of all, obviously, he just had a mass. They found a mass on his kidney. I don't know what that means for him. I don't know what that means for his career, right? I'm going to guess it's not that serious, or else the Pacers wouldn't have accepted that trade in the first place. Um, because they found out about it before the trade was finalized. So they accepted it, I think, saying, maybe things aren't as bad as we think. But that's scary no matter what. So I hope it's not too serious, and I hope he does recover well from whatever it is. Right. But what I was saying is he's out. So even if Kyrie does come, Malcolm Brogdon can be moved like to the shooting guard, or no, Malcolm Brogdon would be the running the shooting guard, right? Or Aaron Holiday, I guess, could potentially run shooting guard or small forward or whatever they wanted to do, right? Either one of those guys. Um, but the biggest thing is Indiana is a small market. We're not going to land anyone in free agency. The only way that we find stars is through trades or through the draft. We look great right now, but that can easily change in the playoffs. Stars win championships, and Kyrie, even as much drama as he causes, he's a star. So I say maybe the Pacers can take a swing at this guy, especially because we're not exactly a rebuilding team, but we're not exactly a win now team, right? We're kind of in an in-between stage. And I say we have to commit one way or the other. And so I say we might as well go out and try to commit now. Kyrie Irving can be our number one option. Domantas Sabonis can run the center position, which he is most comfortable running anyway. It might weaken our depth a little bit, but we don't really need Jeremy Lamb. He's coming off an injury. He's not even playing right now, and we still look good. We have other guys that can come in and, fulfill his role, play his position, right? So I say maybe we take a chance on that. But then the Brooklyn Nets obviously make this trade. They get some exceptional defense in Miles Turner at the 5 spot. Nice 3-point shooting as well, so he can step out and space the floor. And then he also gets a good amount of rebounds as well. So that's a solid trade that they can make. One other trade that I was suggesting was Mitchell Robinson, but I don't think it's possible because of the whole contract situation. I like I said, I don't know how money works, but when I was trying to make the trade go through on the website I was using, it wasn't working because of money. Now, this is the biggest reason that I think that the Nets need to trade Kyrie Irving. And that's because they have Spencer Dinwiddie, right? He's injured this season. He was already on a pretty small deal, right? If they trade Kyrie Irving, and because when they trade him, they're obviously going to be getting rid of, some of his contract, right? They're not going to be taking in a full $33 million, which I think he's making. I might be wrong. But they won't be taking in that much money when they trade him, right? And since Spencer Dinwiddie is injured, they can probably get him on another steal of a contract. Once again, I'm not saying long-term they're going to be getting him for like a 4-year, $20 million contract, but maybe a 1 or 2 year deal on a contract that size is possible. And if they can bring him back, that's great. When he was playing great on defense, extremely versatile player that could actually run the 1 through 5. We've seen him as a starter before. He's played at a near all-star level, does an exceptional job creating for teammates and also scoring the ball as well. From both finishing around the rims, from both a finishing around the rim standpoint and shooting the 3 ball. He's just a great piece and an underrated piece at that. People don't really realize that he's still on this team, even though he's out for the season. And if they can bring him back in free agency, because his value will be down since he's coming off an injury. I just spit everywhere. Did you guys see that on camera? Whoops. But since he is going to be coming off an injury, his value is going to be low. They can bring him back, and all of a sudden you got Spencer Dinwiddie at the 1, like James Harden at the 2, Joe Harris at the 3, Kevin Durant at the 4, and Miles Turner at the 5. That's an elite starting lineup from a star power standpoint and a fit standpoint. That is unbelievable. In general, I just think that this duo by themselves of James Harden and Kevin Durant is going to work out really well. And having all 3 of those guys on the court at the same time does not work. So in my opinion, they should trade Kyrie Irving, and hopefully they can get a package somewhat like this in return. I don't know if it's possible, but you might as well try. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and, subscribe to the YouTube channel or check out the rest of the Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to this to. I do have many more episodes or videos like this. Also in the description is going to be my link tree with all of my other social media pages in the description. So you can go ahead and check those out. I post a lot more content on there as well. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode, and I will see you guys next time.